The discovery and descent. The Antarctic wind howled across the frozen landscape, whipping snow into blinding curtains that engulfed the research station. Inside the main laboratory module, Dr. Maya Chen stared at the ground-penetrating radar results for the fifth time, her breath fogging in the cold air despite the heating system's constant battle against the elements. "This can't be right," she muttered, adjusting her glasses. "These formations aren't natural." Commander Jackson leaned over her shoulder, his weathered face creased with skepticism. "You're telling me there's a perfect geometric structure 2 kilometers beneath the ice sheet in Antarctica?" "Not just geometric," Maya replied, pointing to the display. "Look at these right angles, these perfect corridors. This is architecture, Commander. Someone, or something, built this." The expedition team gathered around the display, their faces illuminated by the blue glow of the screen. Dr. Elias Okafor, the team's geologist, shook his head in disbelief. "The ice core samples date this layer at approximately 15,000 years old. If something's down there, it predates human civilization." Lieutenant Cruz, the team's military liaison, crossed her arms. "Or it could be a natural formation that just happens to look artificial. Wouldn't be the first time scientists got excited over nothing." Maya zoomed in on one section of the scan. "Natural formations don't include perfect spherical chambers connected by straight corridors, Lieutenant. And they certainly don't contain metal alloys unknown to modern science." Commander Jackson sighed, running a hand through his silver hair. "The UN Scientific Council will never approve a drilling operation based on these scans alone. We need more evidence." "Then let's get it," Maya said, determination hardening her voice. "The abandoned Russian drilling platform is only 20 kilometers from this location. We can repurpose it, create a narrow shaft down to the structure." "In this weather?" Lieutenant Cruz scoffed. "That's suicide." "No," replied Dr. Weizong, the team's engineer. "It's actually possible. The platform was designed for these conditions. With some modifications, we could reach the structure in 3 weeks." Commander Jackson stared at the scan, weighing his options. After a long moment, he nodded. "Make the preparations, but this stays between us until we have visual confirmation. If word gets out that we're drilling without approval, we'll all be reassigned to weather stations in Siberia." Lieutenant Cruz finished. "I'll handle security protocols." 3 weeks later, Maya stood at the edge of a perfectly cylindrical shaft that plunged into darkness. The modified drilling platform hummed around them, the heat from its generators creating a pocket of warmth in the Antarctic wasteland. 2 kilometers down, Wei announced, checking the final readings. "The shaft is stable, and we've breached the outer chamber of the structure." Maya secured her helmet and checked her oxygen supply. "The descent vehicle is ready. Who's coming with me?" Commander Jackson, Lieutenant Cruz, Dr. Okafor, and Wei all stepped forward, already suited up. "5 of us should be sufficient for initial contact," Jackson said. "Dr. Petrov will monitor from up here and maintain communications." The descent was silent and tense. Their vehicle, essentially a reinforced elevator cage, lowered them through layers of ice that had remained undisturbed for millennia. The walls of the shaft gradually changed from compressed ice to something else, a dark material that seemed to absorb their lights rather than reflect them. "We're passing through the outer shell of the structure," Wei whispered, his voice filled with awe. "This material, it's not registering as any known element on my scanner." Lieutenant Cruz tightened her grip on her weapon. "Friendly reminder that we're descending into an unknown structure that might be alien in origin. Stay alert." When they reached the bottom, the elevator doors opened to reveal a vast chamber with walls that seemed to pulse with faint blue-green light. The air was breathable but carried a strange metallic taste. "Impossible," Ilias breathed, checking his instruments. "The atmosphere in here is regulated. After 15,000 years. Maya stepped forward, her boots connecting with a floor made of the same strange, dark material. As her foot touched down, The entire chamber illuminated, lines of light spreading out from her contact point, like a ripple in water. Movement activated, Y murmured, or presence activated. The team moved cautiously through the chamber, which opened into a corridor lined with symbols unlike any known human language. The symbols appeared to shift subtly as they passed, as if rearranging themselves. "They're responding to us," Maya said, recording everything with her helmet camera. "This place isn't dead, it's dormant." At the end of the corridor, they entered a vast spherical chamber with what appeared to be a control console at its center. When they approached, a holographic display activated, projecting a three-dimensional image of the solar system. "It's some kind of observatory," Commander Jackson suggested. Maya shook her head. "No, I think it's a warning system." As if triggered by her words, the hologram zoomed in on a region beyond Pluto's orbit, highlighting a cluster of objects moving slowly but deliberately toward the inner solar system. "Those aren't natural," Lieutenant Cruz said, her military training immediately recognizing the formation. "That's a fleet." Before anyone could respond, a voice filled the chamber, not through sound, but somehow directly in their minds. "Caretaker protocol activated. Human neural patterns detected. Genetic compatibility confirmed. Emergency briefing initiating." The hologram shifted, showing humanoid beings with elongated limbs and enlarged craniums. Were the Anunnaki. This facility is one of 7 safeguards placed on your world before our extinction. We selected your planet because your species showed remarkable potential. Our genetic modifications to your ancestors were designed to accelerate your development. The team exchanged shocked glances as the message continued. "The approaching fleet belongs to the Harvesters, the same entity that consumed our civilization. They do not conquer. They harvest all sentient life and move on. Our weapons failed. Our logic failed. But you humans possess something we never fully understood: creativity born of chaos." The hologram showed images of early humans solving problems in ways the Anunnaki apparently found baffling, using tools in unanticipated ways, creating art, developing symbolic language. "This facility contains our legacy, technology, knowledge, and weapons designed to interface with human neural patterns. You have approximately 72 Earth hours before the Harvester scout ships enter your atmosphere. The main fleet will arrive in 14 days. Why now?" Maya asked aloud. "Why has this place activated now?" "Your drilling operation penetrated our dormancy shield. The energy signature has alerted the Harvesters to active Anunnaki technology. They were waiting, as they always do, for survivors to reveal themselves." Lieutenant Cruz stepped forward. "So by finding you, we've doomed ourselves." "Not necessarily. We failed because we were predictable. The Harvesters adapted to our strategies. Humans are unpredictable. This may be your advantage." The central console opened, revealing a series of crystalline devices. "These are neural interfaces. They will allow you to access our systems and defense protocols. We cannot guarantee your survival, but we offer you tools our civilization developed over 10,000 years of war." Commander Jackson looked at his team. "We need to alert the world governments immediately." "Who's going to believe us?" Lieutenant Cruz countered. "Without proof, we'll sound like lunatics." Maya approached the console, her hand hovering over one of the crystal devices. "Then we'll bring them proof. We'll bring them something they can't ignore." Warning: human neural pathways are compatible but untested. Integration may cause significant physiological stress. Maya looked back at her team, determination in her eyes. "We have 72 hours until the scouts arrive. We can spend that time arguing with bureaucrats who won't believe us, or we can learn everything we can about these defenses." Wei stepped forward to join her. "I'm with Dr. Chen." One by one, the others joined them at the console. "For humanity," Commander Jackson said quietly, as they each reached for a neural interface. The moment Maya's fingers touched the crystal, her world exploded into light and knowledge. 15,000 years of alien history and technology cascaded through her consciousness. She saw the Anunnaki civilization at its height, spanning dozens of star systems. She witnessed their first encounter with the harvesters and their desperate, losing war. She felt their final, desperate gamble, seeding modified versions of their consciousness into the DNA of promising species across the galaxy, humanity among them. When she regained awareness of her physical surroundings, Maya found herself on her knees, tears streaming down her face. Around her, the others were similarly affected, each processing the vast download of information in their own way. "Did you see?" she whispered. "Did you see what they left us?" Lieutenant Cruz nodded, her military skepticism replaced by grim determination. "They left us a fighting chance." Commander Jackson rose shakily to his feet. "We need to get back to the surface. We have preparations to make." As they gathered themselves to return to the elevator, the alien voice spoke one final time. "You were our last hope, our final experiment. We believe that what made you human, your chaos, your creativity, your inexplicable leaps of intuition, might succeed where our perfect logic failed. The legacy of our civilization now rests with your species. Do not fail as we did." The elevator began its ascent, carrying with it humanity's first ambassadors to an interstellar war they never knew was coming. The Guardians of Legacy. The Antarctic Research Station, once quiet and orderly, had transformed into an emergency command center within hours of the team's return to the surface. Maya's head still throbbed from the neural interface, alien knowledge settling uncomfortably alongside her human thoughts like oil mixing with water. "The UN Security Council is demanding proof," Commander Jackson announced, hanging up a satellite phone. "They've given us 24 hours to provide evidence before they'll convene an emergency session." 24 hours, Lieutenant Cruz scoffed. "By then we'll have only 48 hours before the scout ships arrive. Politicians never change, even in the face of extinction." Dr. Okafor was huddled over a makeshift laboratory setup, examining a small piece of Anunnaki technology they'd brought to the surface. "This metal alloy shouldn't exist according to our understanding of material science. It's responding to electrical stimulation in ways that violate several laws of physics." "That should be proof enough," Wei said, still pale from the neural download. "But I doubt it will convince them in time." Maya stood at the window, watching the Antarctic storm rage outside. The knowledge from the interface swirled in her mind. Weapon schematics, defense strategies, the locations of other Anunnaki facilities around the world. But mixed with this were fragments of memories that weren't her own. The fall of alien cities, the desperation of a dying species, the hope placed in humanity's unpredictable nature. "We're not waiting for permission," she said finally, turning to face the team. "The Anunnaki left us everything we need. There's a reason they put their largest facility here in Antarctica. It's positioned at Earth's magnetic pole. If we can activate the planetary shield generator, we can at least buy ourselves time." "A planetary shield?" Commander Jackson asked skeptically. "Is that even possible?" Maya projected images directly from her mind onto the nearest computer screen, a new ability granted by the neural interface. The technology creates a quantum barrier around the planet using Earth's own magnetic field as a framework. It won't stop the harvesters forever, but it will force them to adjust their approach, giving us more time to prepare. Lieutenant Cruz studied the schematics with newfound understanding. "We'd need to reroute power from the entire Antarctic research grid, and even then, we'd only have enough energy to power up the secondary systems." "It's a start," Maya insisted. "The primary systems can draw power from the Earth's core once they're activated, but we need that initial surge to wake them up." Commander Jackson nodded grimly. "I'll handle the power rerouting. Cruz, I need you to convince the military personnel at McMurdo Station to help us without revealing everything. Tell them it's a classified technology test." "What about the other sites?" Wei asked. The Anunnaki mentioned 7 facilities. Maya closed her eyes, sorting through the alien knowledge. "There's one beneath the Gobi Desert, another under the Amazon rainforest, one in the Mariana Trench, one beneath the Sahara, another in the Himalayas, and the last one in the Arctic. Each contains different aspects of their technology. This Antarctic base was meant to be the coordination center. Dr. Petrov, who had been silent until now, looked up from his computer. I've been analyzing the data from the neural download. The Anunnaki didn't just leave us their technology. They left parts of themselves in our DNA. That's why we can interface with their systems. What do you mean, parts of themselves? Dr. Okafor asked. Certain cognitive structures, neural patterns, Petrov explained. They were guiding our evolution, subtly, over thousands of years. They saw something in early humans, a creative spark, an ability to make intuitive leaps that their logical minds couldn't replicate. They wanted to nurture that while giving us their knowledge. Maya nodded. That's why the interface felt so strange, like trying to merge two different operating systems. Their knowledge is structured, logical. Our minds are messier. And that mess might save us, Lieutenant Kruz said. The harvesters adapted to the Anunnaki's logical attack patterns. They won't be expecting human unpredictability. 20 hours later, the team had managed to reroute power from every research station in Antarctica. The magnetic anomalies caused by their preparations had not gone unnoticed. Scientific institutions around the world were reporting unprecedented fluctuations in Earth's magnetic field. Maya stood at the central console they'd constructed on the surface, connected via a shaft to the Anunnaki facility below. Shield activation in 3, 2, 1. The sky above Antarctica erupted in curtains of light that dwarfed any natural aurora. The atmosphere seemed to ripple as energy cascaded around the planet, following the magnetic field lines from pole to pole. For a moment, the entire world fell silent as electronic systems temporarily faltered. Shield at 20% capacity, Wei announced, reading from displays only he could see thanks to his neural interface. It's working, but barely. We need more power to sustain it. The satellite phone rang. Commander Jackson answered it, his expression grim. Yes, Mr. Secretary General. Yes, we are responsible for the phenomenon. No, this is not a weapon test. He paused. Sir, I suggest you look at the long-range astronomical data from any major observatory. You'll find evidence of artificial objects decelerating at the edge of our solar system. He hung up. They're convening an emergency session in 2 hours. They've seen the harvester fleet. Maya nodded absently, her focus elsewhere. Through her neural connection, she could feel the shield straining against the limits of human power generation. We need to activate the geothermal taps. The Anunnaki designed them to draw energy directly from Earth's core. That could destabilize the entire Antarctic plate, Dr. Okafor warned. The calculations were designed for the planet as it was 15,000 years ago. The continental drift has changed everything. Then we need to adapt them, Maya insisted. That's what humans do, isn't it? We adapt. We improvise. For the next 12 hours, the team worked feverishly, recalculating geothermal tap placement while simultaneously explaining the situation to increasingly panicked world leaders. The Harvester scout ships had been spotted by Earth's most powerful telescopes, their unnatural movements removing any doubt about their artificial nature. We've modified the geothermal tap design, Wei announced, projecting a new schematic. Instead of 7 major taps as the Anunnaki planned, we'll use 50 smaller ones distributed across geological stable points. It won't be as efficient, but it won't crack the planet either. And we'll need to adapt the shield harmonics, Maya added. The Anunnaki designed it to stop their weapons, but the harvesters may have evolved since then. Lieutenant Kruz, who had been coordinating with military forces worldwide, looked up from her communications. We've got another problem. Some countries are preparing nuclear launches against the incoming fleet. That won't work, Maya said sharply. Nuclear detonations will only give the harvesters more energy to absorb. They feed on radiation. Tell that to generals who think bigger bombs are always the answer, Kruz replied grimly. As the scout ships entered Earth's upper atmosphere, the modified shield flickered to life at full capacity, powered by Y's network of smaller geothermal taps. The scouts, sleek obsidian vessels that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, probed the barrier with energy weapons that made the sky burn with unnatural colors. "The shield is holding," Y reported, sweat beading on his forehead from the effort of maintaining the neural connection. "But they're learning. Each attack is probing a different frequency. Just as the Anunnaki memories showed us," Maya said. "The harvesters adapt quickly. We need to change the shield frequency randomly, not in a pattern they can predict." "The system isn't designed for that," Commander Jackson objected. "The Anunnaki built everything on mathematical perfection." "Then we need to introduce imperfection," Maya insisted. "Connect the shield frequency to something unpredictable. Something human." Dr. Petrov snapped his fingers. "Music. Human music follows mathematical patterns, but with creative variations that even we can't always predict. If we use music to modulate the shield frequency." "That's brilliant," Maya said, already making the modifications. "Feed every radio station on Earth into the system. Let human creativity guide our defense." As bizarre as it seemed, the plan worked. When the shield harmonics began changing in response to thousands of radio broadcasts from around the world, everything from classical symphonies to death metal to pop songs, the harvester attacks became increasingly ineffective. Their adaptive algorithms couldn't predict the chaotic pattern of human musical expression. 72 hours after the scout ships arrived, the main harvester fleet appeared, a swarm of larger vessels that blackened the sky where they gathered. But by then, humanity had rallied. The other 6 Anunnaki facilities had been located and activated, each providing new weapons and defenses that were quickly adapted with human ingenuity. From the Amazon facility came biological countermeasures that could target the semi-organic components of harvester technology. The Gobi Desert site provided quantum communication systems that couldn't be intercepted or jammed. The Mariana Trench facility housed gravitational weapons that could tear apart harvester ships by creating localized distortions in space-time. In Antarctica, Maya stood before representatives from every major world government, explaining the final phase of their defense. The Anunnaki fought logically, predictably. "We won't make that mistake. Each defensive system and weapon has been modified with human unpredictability built in." "And you believe this will be enough?" asked the Chinese representative skeptically. Maya smiled for the first time in days. "No, but that's our advantage. We don't know what's enough, so we'll try everything. The Anunnaki chose us because we're illogical, emotional, and creative. Where they saw chaos, they recognized potential. When the harvesters launched their main assault, they faced not the logical, predictable defense of the Anunnaki, but the wild creativity of humanity. Military jets armed with modified Anunnaki weapons flew impossible patterns. Shield frequencies changed according to jazz improvisations. Biological countermeasures mutated randomly, preventing the harvesters from developing immunity. The final blow came from an unexpected source. A team of video game designers, working with quantum physicists, developed a viral code based on the mathematical equivalent of a paradox, something that would force the harvester hive mind to devote increasing resources to solving an unsolvable problem. When the harvester fleet finally retreated 3 weeks later, limping back to the outer solar system, humanity stood bloody but unbowed. The Anunnaki technology had given them a fighting chance, but it was human unpredictability that had won the day. In the Antarctic facility, Maya and her team gathered around the original holographic display, now showing the retreating harvester fleet. "They'll be back," Lieutenant Kruz said softly. "This was just the first wave." Maya nodded. "But we'll be ready. We have the Anunnaki knowledge now, and we know how to use it our way." Commander Jackson gazed at the hologram thoughtfully. "The Anunnaki spent 10,000 years fighting the harvesters and lost. We drove them back in 3 weeks. Because we didn't fight the way they expected," Wei said. "The greatest weakness of the harvesters is their inability to truly understand creativity, improvisation, art, all the things that make us human. Maya placed her hand on the console, feeling the ancient technology hum beneath her touch. The Anunnaki called us their final experiment. I think we just passed the test. In the years that followed, humanity spread throughout the solar system, building defenses and preparing for the harvester's return. The 7 Anunnaki facilities became universities where humans learned to combine alien technology with their own unique perspective. Earth's cultures flourished, each contributing different forms of creativity to their collective defense. And somewhere in the vast darkness between stars, the harvesters regrouped, adapting as they always had. But for the first time in their ancient existence, they faced an enemy whose greatest strength was unpredictability. A species that thrived on the very chaos the harvesters could never understand. The game had changed, and humanity was just getting started.